There you go. Start my video. We do have classes here at the MLS. If you ever wanted to take a class to learn things on a granular level, just come to metromls.com, go to training, click on in-person virtual classes, and it will list the classes that we have here. Every Monday from 10 to noon is open lab. That's walk-in help, first come, first serve on anything that you wish. I'm going to switch to the calendar view real quick here. So next month's calendar, I believe, has been put on the schedule already. Switch there. There we go. So, oops. Dan, I do not see the calendar, but he'll have it up pretty soon there. But we'll have classes scheduled here. So just to get started, so we're going to start with CMA tools first. I find that a lot of people do come in for open lab on Mondays for help on CMAs. CMAs are as easy as 1, 2, 3, as we've named the class. If you know how to search for properties, then your CMA should be very easy. So CMA is easy in 3 steps. The first step is that you want to search for your comparable properties. So if you have a buyer who's not selling property they're looking to buy, you're searching on details that they're looking for, and so they can compare what's available. Or if you have a seller who is listing their property with you, you're searching for like properties to that seller. So kind of on an apples to apples basis. So the first thing that you want to do is search for properties that are like the property that you want to find. You would do that in a quick search. You open that search up. The first thing that you want to do is move your eyes in this upper left-hand corner and see if this is the property type that you want to search. If you need to change that, you use this button right here, change search template. It's important to use this button because when you're picking a property type to search on, it is pulling up search details that map specifically to that property type. So I've changed mine to single family. Next, you'll enter in whatever statuses that you'd like to search. Agents do this differently. Some just do sold, some do active pending and sold, some just do active sold, whatever it is that you typically like to do. So I'm just going to do active and sold. When you choose an off-market date, such as pending, sold, and expired, the system will automatically go back a year for you when you select that status. You can edit that. You're not married to that. So here, if you wanted to enter in a hard date range, like maybe since the beginning of this year to today's date, I would switch this single box by clicking this relative date icon and then enter in January 1st of this year to leave that date like this, because it can't give you anything that it hasn't happened yet. Or if you wanted to go a certain number of days, months, or years back, I'm going to go back to that single box again by clicking that double arrow icon. And this is where I can tell it go back 9 months, 6 months, whatever. That prevents me from having to do the kindergarten fingers. So I'm going to type the number 6 in there. I'm going to switch the days to months. But if you needed to do years, that's one more click. Okay. Next, I'm going to come down and enter in whatever criteria it is that I need to search on. So I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to do a search in Milwaukee County. I'm going to search the municipality of Wauwatosa. If I wanted to enter in a price, list sold price, I could. I'm not going to. I'm going to enter in the bedrooms that I'm looking for, my bathrooms, and any other criteria that I would need to. If there's criteria that you need to search that you do not see listed in the quick search panel, simply click the Add a Field button. That brings up all the search fields that are associated to that property type. So for example, if I wanted to search on square footage, all of those like year built, acreage, and square foot, they're always start with the word estimate. So I'm just going to type in the word EST, and I scroll down and it brings up all of my estimate fields here. I'm going to click estimate total square footage. Keep in mind that's required when entering in a listing. Above and below ground are not required on entry. So I'm going to select that field, put in my minimum that I'm looking for, put in my maximum that I'm looking for, like that. Okay. Also, just as a side note, a lot of people, when you're doing searches for active properties, like, doing it for a customer, if you ever wanted to exclude those active with offer listings, the yellow box with the red C, the contingent, to exclude those, this field right here, contingent, you would click that field open, click on zero selected, and check with offer. Then I'm going to click this little white space above it. So it'll read contingent of with offer. Then to exclude it, I'm going to click this of and change it to not of. So that will get rid of those active with offer listings in my search. All right, I just wanted to show you that before I continued on. I'm going to take my check out. So basically, your step one is searching for whatever criteria it is that you need. Architecture, style, basement, you know, year built, lots, whatever, all that stuff, whatever it is that you need to search on, you enter in your criteria. That's your step one. Once you have your results here, you can either click on view results here, or you can click on list here. That will take you out to the search results screen. Step two is auditing your properties. Every realtor audits their properties differently. Even within certain CMAs, whatever you're running, you may use different auditing tools. But I'm going to show you a lot of the tools that you can use to audit. So once you're here on the search results screen, I'm going to take you to detail. When you think detail, think of data. This is where most of the primary data, majority of the data lives on a listing. So this brings up your detail sheet. On your detail sheet, this is where you can look at things such as the estimate total square footage, the bathrooms information, the school district information, the rooms information with this the dimensions, style, architecture, driveway, all that good stuff that was filled in on the listing. You can also look at the public remarks, any private remarks that you need to, days on market, all those things. So this is the detail report. Next auditing tool is your history. So maybe you're curious to see if that property has been listed in the MLS in the past. This one has. So it brings up every list number that's associated with that property. And there's our last one that's here. So you can see the progression of the prices and how many days it was on the market and what the original list price was. To look at the detail of any of these list numbers, you got a little plus sign here. I can click on that and that will open up the history. So anytime that a listing is edited, it's recorded in here. So it reads from the bottom up. So the very first entry was July 22nd at 9:01 p.m., who it was changed by, what was changed, what was the old value and the new value. So that's your second auditing tool. Your next auditing tool is looking at the tax record. So you can click on tax info or monsoon. I'm going to click on tax info. Now I'm using Google Chrome and everybody's Google Chrome doesn't do this, but my Google Chrome does not seem to like our wire data site. So if you ever get this like little sad sheet of paper that's right here, you can still open up that tax record by clicking this little icon that you see right here. It'll open that tax record in a new window. I've got all my passwords and stuff saved in Google, so I'm not moving browsers. So here's the tax record for that property if I needed to see it. So there's your county, who it's taxed by, tax key number, the property address, mailing address where their tax bills go to, the assessment section for years 2017 to 2025, same taxes year, assessor's information, legal description, and any sales information. Now, you may notice that whenever you're looking at tax record, different municipalities give us different information. So Milwaukee, Waukesha, they give us pretty much everything where we've got a nice filled in tax record. But if there's a record that you're looking at and there's information that you need and it's not listed here, that means that that municipality did not give it to us to post. And you would have to either go out to that municipality's website or you would have to contact them directly for that information. All right, I'm going to close that. Next is the documents. This will allow you to look at any public documents that are on the listing. So here I've got the lead paint disclosure, seller update, seller condition. I can either click those to open them at one at a time, to open up the PDF on those and take a peek. Or if I wanted to view them all at the same time, I can select them and click this View Print Check Documents link, and that will open them all up in HTML format where I can just see all of them in one scroll, like this. All right. Moving on over. Next is the Photos tab. So underneath Detail, Report, History, Tax Info, and Documents are good auditing tools to use. Next is your photos. So you definitely want to take a peek at the photos because the photos definitely tell a story about the home. Listing agents can upload an unlimited number of listing photos to their listing. If there's any floor plans, videos, or virtual tours attached to the listing, there will be buttons here up at the top. Let me see if I can find one that has it. Here's one. So this one is telling us it has 51 photos, and then it has one video. In order to see the video, I just click on the video button, and then I can click play. If there was a floor plan or a virtual tour attached to it, there would be buttons of those labels up at the top where you can click those as well. Next is your map, where you can look at the location of the properties here. Then you can also do a search and radius by your subject address if you needed to. So if you wanted to look at listings that were within a certain mile radius of the subject property that you're using, you can use this little push pin that's over here. This is also available to you, these tools, when you're in quick search creating your search. But if you forgot to do it or you want to do it out here, you can click this push pin. That'll bring up your locate address box. Enter in your subject address. I'm just going to enter in the office address up here. And then the state. Then I'll hit locate. It locates that address, and then this is where I can use my radius search. So when you click that radius search link, it defaults to 1 mile. You can use any whole or fraction mile. So if I wanted to search 2 miles or 2 1/4, I can type that in there, click create radius. There's my radius. If I decided that that radius was too big and I needed to go smaller, I can do another radius search here first. Maybe I want to do 1.5, hit create radius. Then to get rid of my original bigger circle here, I'm just going to close this little box. I can come over here. So I've got 2 circles. When you highlight it, it'll let you know which is which. So I want to get rid of the bigger one, and I just click the X on that one. And that's how you can create your radius from an address. I'm going to get rid of both of those. All right. And then last is the stats tab. So I'm going to switch to list real quick before I go there. So my search yielded 22 results based on the criteria that I entered in. If I wanted to see statistics on all of these that I entered in, I can go to the stats tab, and it will load the statistics. So it's telling me I have 6 active and 16 that are sold. As I scroll down in the page, it gives me the section for average, median, low, and high statistics for each of these categories that you see here: beds, baths, square footage, original list price, current list price, sold price for the solds, list price per square foot, sold price per square foot, sold to list ratio, sold to original list price ratio, days on market and cumulative days on market averages, and average and price change both in dollars and percentage. So you get an average row for each of those, a median, a low, a high, and then you get a total row at the bottom. The next section is statistics for days on market and sold list ratios by market time, starting from 0 to 30 days, going up to 121 plus days. The last chart is cumulative days on market and sold list ratios by market time for those same buckets. Now, let's say you want to choose comparables. You don't want to use all 22. Maybe there's 6 or 7 that you want to use. So I'll pick a few, and then I'll pick a few of the solds. So now I've got 8 selected. So I can switch to my selected tab, and now I can see my stats just for those properties that I chose for comparable. And this is a great insert to a CMA. The statistics summary in the CMA is kind of basic. So if you wanted to give more granular information, you could go ahead and you can print this as like a PDF and do it as a combined with your CMA report, or you can print out a paper copy and put them together. Okay. So we did step 1, which was searching for the comparable properties. Step 2 are tools that you can use for auditing the properties. Last step is just pulling those into the CMA. So if I click the CMA button, click Use Selected, then I'm here where I can choose my full or my quick CMA. And then this will take you through those steps. Basically, from this point, it's like filling out an application. Okay. All right. Any questions on that CMA portion? There's one thing that I did want to show you before we leave. In addition, let's say you've gone out to a listing appointment. I'm just going to refresh my screen here. You've gone out to a listing appointment. Someone called the office. They're interested in, listing their property. So you go out and, you do your thing out there. So when you come back, you can say, okay, I wonder if this property has ever been in the MLS before. We've got a tool that you can run that we call it's called Search Comparable. We call it like One-Click CMA. So let's say you come up here to that search field and you search that address. I'm going to put in 2320 North 68th Street. All right, so we'll pretend like this says expired or sold or something like that. So what I can do after I've put in that address, you see this section that says comparable search? I can click right on that address that has the list number, and it has to be in our system before for this to work. What it will do is it will create a jumping point, a starting point for you for your CMA based on settings that you can control. So by me clicking search comparable, what it's doing for me based on my settings is searching a half-mile radius from that address, is searching a percentage above and below on the square footage, is searching the 4 statuses that I've got selected a year back, and then it's searching my bedrooms range and my bathrooms range. Now, where this is pulling from, I'm going to go to Menu. Underneath Preferences, I'm going to click on General Preferences. Once I'm here in the General Preferences screen, I'm clicking on Comparables. This is where those settings are pulling from. So you can go there in your account, and based on however it is that you like to start a CMA, plug in that criteria here. So when you use that tool, you can kind of see what it brings up for you. And then if you need to make your edits while it's over there, you can. So at least it takes a little bit of the front end work off for you. All right, any questions on that? Awesome. All right, so now I am going to go through an aligned showings overview just to refresh you on some settings here. So I've got aligned showings in my shortcut bar up here at the top, but you access aligned showings by going to Menu and then underneath Products, click on Aligned Showings. Okay, so here I am in the dashboard of aligned showings. The calendar is always the starting point when you come into aligned showings. So here with the calendar, you're able to filter this calendar if you need to. So if you've got like a whole bunch of appointments here and you needed to see the appointment for a specific address, you can search this calendar by address or by a particular agent name. You can pop that in here. Appointment type, it lets you choose your appointment types to search. If you wanted to search for appointments for a particular buyer of yours, you can put in your buyer's name, your appointment role, and then the appointment status here. This calendar can go back a maximum of 18 months. So let's say you wanted to see all of your approved appointments since the beginning of this year. What you could do is set your filters. So I'm taking off everything except for approved. Come up here to custom, choose that beginning date range that you like. So I'm going to go back to January 1st and then click apply. Then it brings them all up in a list format for you. So there's the date of the appointment, the time. This means that they're all approved. For the address, and then the agent that was on the other side, and then any showing information. We've got a ticket in. We've requested that this also would display the buyer name on your listings that people have made appointments. There's a way to see buyers' names before they expire, but it's kind of, you got to click through each appointment. So we've got a ticket in asking if a column for buyer name can be added here. But once you've got this up here, you can export it into a CSV file if you needed to. Going back over to that calendar, items that you can do. Let me refresh the screen like this way. From the appointment, so if you click on an appointment, here it'll show you the date and time of the appointment type, if it's approved, if it's one of the other categories that will show there. This little icon here means you need to rebook it if something came up and you needed to rebook it. There's the address of the property. That's who's on the other side with their contact information. If you needed to decline the appointment, there's a button here. Then in this more button, this is a reschedule. If you click on more details, that takes you into the details of the appointment. So if you needed to view it in messages or view the listing in Flex, there's also a decline and reschedule here. Shows you the showing type and the date. If you needed to edit the information that's on here, maybe you fat fingered it and you didn't notice it till now. If you were to edit this and saves it, it sends out a notification to the showing side that that information has been updated. And I'll click on show more. So it shows me all of my information that I've got in the additional instructions field. And then if there's people on your team, if you've got someone within your brokerage that is helping you with this listing, this is where you can add your team instructions here. In the contacts tab, this is showing you the showing agent side and letting you know you're the listing agent on this appointment. And then all history of messages will be shown in here, as well as in the messages section. And I'll close that. Next, I'll go into my listings and show you the icons that are on the card that you can use. So all of your active listings will be here. If you needed to see listings that were in delayed status, you just switch here and then click to coming soon or any other status that's here. So this first icon is merge listing. Let's say you have the same property address for sale and for rent at the same time, and you wanted to merge the showing calendars. This icon will allow you to merge those calendars. If you just merge them and you decided you didn't want them merged anymore, then you can click that and it'll unmerge it. Next is schedule on behalf of an agent. Let's say an agent from another MLS, South Central, Northeast, someone who doesn't have access to aligned showings, wanted to schedule a showing on your listing. They don't have access to it, so you can come in here, click on schedule on behalf of agent. We don't have membership of other MLSs here, so my suggestion would be to put your name in here when you schedule it, and then once you get to that screen, it'll let you override any restrictions here. Then enter in the name of the agent that's coming here. That's what that little note box is for. And then if the buyer required, you can skip the buyer if it's your listing. I'll close that. Next icon is add past showing. Maybe you had an informal showing or an unscheduled showing at your property, but you wanted to count against your records here. So this is where you can come in and you can add a past showing. Maybe you were coming out of a house and another realtor with their customer was driving by and they're like, oh, you're here. Is it possible that we can do a quick, you go, sure, come on in. That's one of the reasons why you can do that, or for any other reason that it wasn't on the books originally and you wanted to show that it was on the books. Next is the download activity report. This will show you the activity that has happened on that listing. So we'll open it up into a PDF format for you. So if you wanted to download it and save it or share it with your seller, you could. So there's the activity report. That would be your name here. This is the property information. So there was a total of 47 approved showings, 3 in the last 30 days, 1 in the last 7 days, and then there were 5 feedback left. And that's what this chart represents up here. And then as you move down are all of the feedback responses that were left on that property. All right, I'm going to close that. Next is view feedback. This is viewing just the feedback on that listing. So you can kind of page through. It tells you the date and time and who it was left by as you're paging through on each page. Oh, excuse me. Next is broadcast message. This will allow you to send a broadcast message to all showing side agents in the last rolling 30 days. There's also an option down here to future appointments. So if there was messages that you wanted to send out to people who've seen it, then there's a different message to people that are upcoming to see it. You can make your selections down here. You can also omit agents from these broadcast messages. So anyone that was signed up to see this property, when you click this drop down arrow, there will appear in the list. You just select who you don't want to get that broadcast message. And you just type your message up here. Next is your view showings icon. View showings allows you to see the showings on just this listing. It'll take you to the calendar and show you all the showings just for that particular listing. So you don't have to filter through here. Coming back to my listings. Before I show you the edit one, I'm going to show you the buyer's report. So after a listing has expired, you have 5 days to download the protected buyer's report. So you would come here to listing status, switch to that expired listing. This little icon that you see right here is the download buyer's report. So when you click that, it'll open it up in a PDF, and then this will be your protected buyer's report. So it will list the owning agent and brokerage, the date and time of the showing, and then the buyer's name on this report. This report is, again, it's only available after your listing has expired and you've got 5 days to get it. Now, if you wanted to see the buyer's name before your listing expires or you missed that 5 days, you could go into messages. And then when you click the appointment, go over to your right side panel and scroll down. The buyer's name will be over here. It's a little bit of work to get it like this, but at least it's there for you. That's why we're asking for it on that calendar export. All right. Add a showing. Sometimes we get questions on this. The align showings button does not appear on listings that are not in active status. So if an appraiser or an inspection needs to be done and they need to schedule for that, they can go directly into align showings, click on add a showing. Up here at the top, they can enter in the address or the MLS number of that property. Hit search, select it, hit schedule showing, and then they'll get this pop-up. This listing has an accepted contract and is in pending. At this time, showing requests are only accepted for an inspection, appraisal, or walkthrough. Would you like to continue? So it gives them a note basically saying, you know, this listing's in pending. These are the only type of appointments that can be scheduled. So they have to go directly through Align Showings to schedule that. All right. And don't forget that your global settings that you can choose from is down here in the lower left-hand corner under settings. So this is the way that you can set up your Align Showings account based on how you wish to see it. So here are your notification preferences. So make sure that you've got your email and your mobile number here. It should pull them over from your Flex MLS profile but if you haven't added them into your Flex MLS profile, you can add it here. Choose how you'd like to be notified on either side of the transaction here, email or text. Here, receive daily summary emails. Basically, every 24 hours, what that function does, if that's set to yes, will send you an email basically saying, these are your appointments and listing them all out there. Those are set to yes by default. All of these are turned on by default. If there's something that you don't like, you can turn it off. These are receive price reduction and back on market notifications on listings you've shown. And these are send price reduction and back on market notification on your own listings. What you can also do in this screen is set your default time and date restrictions. So if you don't do showings like after 8:30 at night and you don't do them again till 8:30 the next day, this is where you can set your time and date restrictions, where any listings coming in from that point after you set it will grab that restriction and automatically block those dates and or times off. You can also put in your team settings here. So if there's someone that you work regularly with in your office, you guys kind of help each other out pretty much. You can add them in here. You can set them for no showing notifications. And then when they do help you with something on the listing, you can turn them on to get the showing notification. This is your default listing setup. So if there's defaults that you like on your listings, for example, overlapping appointments, if that's a yes or a no for you, and if you'd like to add a limit, if there's a yes, your maximum appointment length, how your requests are handled, if there's an instant message that you like sent out as soon as there's a request made on your listing, your lockbox access, none, combo, or electronic, your showing arrangements, and additional instructions and buyer name required and advance notice requirements. And then lastly is your calendar sync. If you've got like an Outlook calendar or a Google calendar that you want your Align Showings calendar to sync with, this is where you can come and create your appointment settings and how far back to sync, create that link, and then sync it, get the sync link and copy it to your web calendar in either Outlook or Google. All right. Do we have any questions for Align Showings? That was a real quick run through, but it's just kind of covering the basics just to give you guys a refresher. We do have a class coming up next month on Align Showings. I think it's like the third Wednesday of that month, if I'm not mistaken. But check the calendar for that if you want to come. All right. I'm going to close these. What we got going on here? All right, let me switch out of the test agent account I have, and I'm going back over into my account. So some functionality
Hey,
that
Angela.
we have. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, we've got a question.
You set a time limit for a certain category like in-house or inspection and similar, because it's most likely to money is so any type of request for entry has a maximum time limit. I've used when we're requesting, for example, open house time slots, some listings will allow maximum 30, and others, when you request, you can have up to 3 hours for an open house. So you can that be customized.
So the question is, can you customize time limits for things like inspections, open houses, not just showings? Right.
The open house, that function, adding an open house on your listing, that's done through Flex. So when you add an open house, let me just pop in our test listing here. So for
but can you add a time limit in Aligned? Because she's saying that like when she goes to host open houses for other agents and she goes to put it in Aligned, some of them like will have a 30-minute time limit and others will have 3 hours.
Yeah, they can customize that. Let me go back in there and show you.
Okay. Perfect.
So on the listing itself, we go back there. So when you're in Align Showings, you go to My Listings, you go to the listing setup, and then this is where they can customize that appointment length. Anything between none to 180 minutes.
And so can you make it specific though for like an inspection, like the type of appointment or
Oh, for the appointment types?
mhm.
Not at this time, but let me jot that down. Time limit for inspection showing all showing types. Let me send a ticket in for that and see what they can do for that. But right now, the appointment length for the listing itself would be right here.
Okay, thank you. One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You say this for a specific appointment, so when the is made for open house, listing agent can go in and alter the time of just for that.
So if you're gonna have an open house and another agent's doing it for you and they put in their request, can you go in and just edit that specific appointment and make it longer and rather than changing the entire appointment length for all of them? Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
that's
So
on the listing itself. So you would do that. Now, are you talking to showing or open house? Because that's two
an
different
open
things.
house. Oh,
For
a showing or the appointment.
Okay, that would be right here where I'm showing you. So you go into My Listings for a specific appointment, not the listing, but
Mhm.
for a specific appointment. You could. Let me go here to calendar. So let's say this showing that I've got coming up. It grabbed my default,
Mhm.
but if I needed to make, let's see, contacts for this particular appointment. Do. Show more, edit. Let me see if I can check it in messages. For a specific appointment, currently you cannot. Let me make a note of that. Okay, good question. Anything else? All right. I'm moving back. Let me get out of fake agent here. Back to my account. So some functions that we have that you may not know about that could be helpful. First is custom dashboard. So when you log into the system, what you see right here is what we call a dashboard. You can make custom dashboards based on whatever it is, the widgets that we have available. So I'm going to show you one that I have, then I'm going to show you how to make one. So here, when I click on my button here, that's my dashboard menu button. I've got one called Market Stats SF TOSA for single family. So if I were a realtor, there would probably be markets that I'm interested in that I might want to just, get a quick overview glance of the stats that are going in that market for the last 12 months. So here on this market stats TOSA board, I've got a gadget for absorption rate, inventory, sold days on market, volume, sale to original list price and current list price ratio, and prices. If I wanted to make a dashboard for like Brookfield or West Dallas, I can do as many of these dashboards as I wish. So if there's a market that you're interested in keeping your eye on, to create a dashboard, you'd come up here to the upper right-hand corner, click on Customize. Underneath Dashboards, click on Add. This will take you to the dashboard screen. So we've got dashboard templates here already made up. That's that market stats one here. or you can create one from the ground up by giving it its custom name. I'm going to show you market stats. I think that's the most useful one. So I'm going to click Add Dashboard. Once I've clicked Add Dashboard, it takes me back out to that dashboard. Now, let's say I wanted to do this for West Allis. So I'm going to come back to Customize. I'm going to rename it Market Stats West Allis. Then I'm going to save it. All right, so now I'm going to configure each of these gadgets for West Allis. So I'm going to click on the settings button here and go to settings, choose my location, select it over here, and then choose the property type that I want to use it for. So one location, one property type, then I'll hit save. So that's my absorption rate for single family in West Allis. And when you hover over any of these, it gives you the data for that point in time. Next, I'll do inventory. Settings, location, West Allis. Double click it to select it, close that little box. I want it for single family. Then these are the data points that I can choose. So I'm going to select Pendant as well. Then I'm going to hit save. So now it gives me my data points for that. This might be a little hard to read. What you can do if you've got a lot of data points added and you can't, it's kind of hard to read, you can like hide some of these. So maybe I wanted to see new properties. So I'm going to click the little data point key at the bottom and hide the ones just so I can see new listings and look at that. Then maybe I want to add sold listings and I'll put that back there. So even if you've added all of your data points, you can show and hide them at any time. There's also different layouts that you can use. This is a 3-column layout. You wanted to do a 2-column layout, make the gadgets bigger. You go to Customize, change layout, then choose whatever layout you like. So I'll choose the 2-column. And then I'll grab this. And you can reorder these too. So I'm going to put volume right next to sold days on market. So there it's a little bit more readable. Next is the prices, settings, put in my location, choose my property type, and then you get a lot of data points with this one. So you can choose as many as you wish, hit save, and then there's your prices. So you can do like multiple of these dashboards if you wanted to for different communities. Let's say you wanted to add a gadget like a hot sheet to it. So let's say we wanted to add a hot sheet gadget to it. I can go to Customize, Add Gadget. This will bring up all of my available gadgets. I'm going to choose all because that lists all of my gadgets at one time and I can't remember which one hot sheet is in. Then I'll click Add Gadget. And then I can add a couple of these to the same dashboard. So maybe I want one for Milwaukee County and then one for Waukesha County. Then I'm going to click Return to Dashboard. I'll scroll down. So there they are. I'm going to drag this so they're side by side. So now I can go Settings, choose my county, and you can do multiple counties on the hot sheets. But if you want to keep them separate, you can. Choose my MLS or both of those. So if I want to do YRX as well, and then do my property type, I can do multiple property types. So the hot sheet gadgets will let you do multiples. Hit save. So there's my hot sheet for County of Milwaukee for single family properties. If I click on any of these categories, it will open me up to those categories. So clicking on new listings brings me there. And I can switch through the categories here. I don't have to go back to the hot sheet and open up the other categories. I can just switch through the categories here. So it is a 24-hour hot sheet. It's just you can add it right there on your dashboard. All right. Any questions on that custom dashboard? All right. Next, I'm going to show you how you can customize your quick search template. So have you ever gone into a quick search to do a property type search and you're thinking, I'm always doing add a field to add square footage or architecture or something like that. So what you can do is create your own custom template by going to menu, and then underneath your preferences section, go to my quick searches, choose the property type template that you want to build off of. So I'm going to use single family and click on edit. Give it a name. I'm just going to call mine AWMSF. Property type you're using it for, the view that you want used. Click next. Then find those fields that you want to add. So I'm going to do architecture. I'm sorry, estimate square footage. Estimate, where are you? All right, estimate square footage, year built, and acreage. Just use those as examples. So I held down my control key so I could select them all at the same time. Then I'll hit add. So now that they're over here, I'll hit save. Now when I go into quick search, I can change this here, scroll down, there it is right there. And then there's those fields down there. Those fields that I always search on a lot, I can just have them in there so I'm not always clicking add a field to add those fields to that property type that I'm always searching those with. All right, any questions on that? All right, I'm going to show you custom views. This may be helpful for you. I'm just going to do a quick search here. So what a custom view is, let me take that back a little bit shorter, are the columns that you see on the search results screen. So when you come here to the list tab, these columns that you see here is called a view. So I did a single family search and it's associated with the single family view. Now, if you notice that I searched on active and sold properties. So when I'm looking at the sold properties, I may want to see the sold price, the days on market, the price that it's sold for. Right now, I would have to go to detail and kind of click through the listings. What I could do is switch my view drop down. We've got a view. Everybody has this view. Any view that has that little asterisk at the end means everybody has it. So when I click on sold listings, now I have a column for original list price, sold date, list date, and days on market. So when I scroll down to my sold properties, I can see that information. Now, in addition to this, maybe I'd like to see who was on the listing side and on the selling side. Here, this little view button allows me to edit a view on the fly. So when I click on view, it takes me into this screen. So I'm creating a view from that sold listing. So I'm using that as a template. So I'm going to give it a custom name. I'm just going to call it AWMLMSM for list member, cell member. Then I'm going to go to the fields tab. Then I'm going to search those member fields. There they are right there, listing member, selling member. So to select them, I'm going to single left click on each one. That adds them over here to the selected fields list. If I wanted to move them in some particular order, maybe I want original list price up here with sold and list price, I can just hold down my mouse button and drag it till I get it to where I want. Then once I hit save, it takes me back out to those listings. There's my custom view. So now when I scroll down to those solds, there it is right there. Listing member and selling member. And when you click on the member's name, that brings up their business card. You can send them a contact message on that listing if you needed to. If you click on the brokerage name, that brings up their business card. So this is great if you're doing research of some sort, and if you find yourself on the detail tab, clicking through detail sheets, looking for information on the detail sheet, just add that information on the view so you can look at it in a scroll. You can either use the default thumbnail photo scroll, or you can switch to the one line where you can see more information on the page. All right, any questions on that custom view? All right. I am going to now kind of run you through a couple things through Portal. Portal is an optional feature that you can enable for any or all of your contacts. All it does is it gives them a username where they can log in and they can manage listings that you have sent them or you've got saved to their search. They can't access your system. They can't change any searches. They can't edit anything. So here, show you my test contact here. I've got the portal enabled for them here. This is the URL that they would log into. When you set up a portal for them, there's an invite that goes out to them that gives them like a little video on how to access the portal. They use their the primary email address on the contact card as a username, and they make up a password. Subscriptions and portals are two different functions. Subscription is the automatic email, sending out emails, letting them know when there's new and updated listings. The portal, there's no notification function. They just log in and they just see what it's in there, but it's in real time. They can work separately or they can work together. They're able to view their news feed within the portal. Okay. So here on Test Contact, these two searches that I've got saved to this customer, my client will be able to view the listings in there. So I'm going to switch to my tab. So this is what the client will see. So this is using version 2.0. So this, or if they're using the app will look like this. The Homebuyers app will look like this as well. So when they log into their portal, this will be your business card that's here. They can access messages the both of you have sent each other. They can do their own one-off searches on 2.0, this version that you're looking at here. So when they click on search, this gives them like a little bit of search so they can search on active or pending or closed listings. They can search in a particular location, whether a zip code, municipality, or a county. They can choose property types to search on, bathrooms, beds, square footage, price, year built. So they don't get a full-blown search like a member would, but they're able to do their own one-off searches here. So they'll see their listings. They can click on the listing to open up the card and take a look at the information that's here. If they like a listing, they can go down here and click Share Save, save it to their save collection. If they don't like it or they don't want to see it, they can hide it. They can also share this to their public media sites. These links are only good for 30 days. They expire after that. To view listings that you are sending, that you've got saved to their search, that's the saved icon. So when they go to save, these are those two searches that I had set up for that customer, and it lets them know that they're on a subscription. If they wanted to view the listings in that search, they just click on that button and it opens them up to the listings in that search. And this is in real time. They can print these, they can share these, like select them and share them to whomever they want to. They can look at the map in a big area. They can use the stats tab and look at statistics for the listings in that search or selected listings. If they'd like to view their saved collections, they can come back to saved, and there's their collections down here. Saved and hidden are the customer control cards. Recommended and hidden by agent are the agent control cards. How you would recommend a listing, how you put a listing in here to recommend. I'm going back over to the Agent Flex account. You would go to that contact card, open up that search by clicking View All. And clicking the little suitcase icon. That puts them in the recommended card. If you wanted to hide a listing, this puts it in the hidden by agent card. Coming back up to the customer's account, If you have a subscription set up for them, this is where they would view those automatic email sends. So they would click on news feed. Let me switch back over to my list here. So these are all of the listings that were sent out by automatic email. And in the photo, it will let them know what triggered that send. So there was a price change on this one an hour ago. This one was a new listing 3 hours ago, a new listing 8 hours ago, and there's an open house that's been added to it, and so on and so forth. They can open up the listing just by clicking on that card. If they click on request a showing, that sends that request to you, and then you would set up the showing. If they clicked on contact agent, again, that would come to you, their agent. And if those messages are sent, they go to 2 places. They go to your email address of record. So if you don't log into Flex that day, it's still coming through to your email. And then it also goes into the messages section of your Flex MLS account, which is here. Menu, and then my messages. So desktop version 2.0 and the mobile version for the Flex MLS for home buyers app looks like this. Now, if you're using the classic version, and if you've been around for a while, you probably still are on classic. I'm just going to close this here, see if it'll let me log out. And I'm going to switch my version. So where the version is controlled for portals, newer agents as of, I think, 2012, they were automatically set to use 2.0 version. If you've been an agent before 2012, you're probably still on classic. But where you can tell what version you're on is coming to preferences, clicking on portal preferences. So if you see this list of buttons here like this means that you're using version 2.0. If you come into this screen and you see the classic, quote unquote, classic computer, you're on the classic version. So I'm going to log back in as the customer so you can see what classic looks like. Classic looks a lot like your Flex MLS account. All right, I'm going to open that URL again. So if you're on classic version, this is what your customer sees when they log into the portal. So it looks a lot like your Flex MLS account. Instead of that navigation menu being at the top, it's in the left-hand side. So if they wanted to see listings that were automatically emailed out to them, that's the news feed. These are the searches that are attached to their contact card. So if they wanted to view the search, they just click on the search name and it takes them to the listings in those search. This is their saved, their collections that are over here, saved, hidden, recommended, and agent. The difference between 2.0 and classic, if you manually emailed them anything such as listings, a CMA, a report, they can also access manually sent emails here. That's something 2.0 does not have. But they navigate here. So this is their detail sheet. If you've set for them to receive public open houses or documents, that will be listed in here. There's your photos and the map. What determines what a customer can see in their portal is in your portal preferences. So if you go to menu, portal preferences, so this is classic. So this is basically, I'm going to scroll down. So this down here determines if they see documents, if they're attached, any open houses, photos, videos, virtual tours. Same thing for 2.0, but you just go into the listing content options and click what you want them to see there. But they see it in that 2.0 version. So this was like the quick run through drive-by version of Portal. But if you're interested in learning Portal a little bit more in depth, once that calendar goes up for September, there is a Portal class, I believe on the 30th. It's scheduled for that you can sign up for. Do we have a question on anything that I've gone over today? I know it would seem kind of fast, but it was a lot to get in at one time.
First was wrong.
Hey, Angela, we've got a few questions here. One
All
moment.
right. Okay.
I guess for me, I want to know.
Never mind. It was just a question for something else.
Well, maybe.
If you're talking to me, there's a whole bunch of mutes on, so I'm not, if any of that is meant for me, I can't hear it.
We don't have any questions here, Angela. It doesn't seem.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, if you anything else, you can contact Dan, or again, once that class schedule goes up, you want to learn more, all of our classes should be posted shortly out there. All right. Thank you for having me. You guys have a great day.